Welcome. You're now listening to Jacob Boker on the United Songwriters Association Radio Network. We are live. Today we're going to be talking about Songwriters Education. This show is on static. We do not have a set time, a set day. We come on and we try to educate. That's what we try to do. What we're going to talk about today is a little bit of why I believe it's important to educate you guys and how I got involved with it. First of all, I'm going to start a song, but let me tell you a little bit about this song. My mom wrote this song. She's been a songwriter my whole life and pretty much her whole life. She's been into music. Her dad taught her how to play guitar when she was a kid, and she loves old school country music. She's always written songs, and she's known all the big timers: Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, all the Outlaws, pretty much everybody in the country western scene, especially the more or less the old timers. So that's how I got involved. She's always thrown songwriters rendezvous, songwriting camps. She's always had a Songwriters Association, really trying to help out the musicians and the artists out there. I just feel like my whole life I've connected with these artists, these musicians. I've grown up around them. I've grown up in the industry. I just feel like the industry, the big labels who control most everything, it just really, really destroyed the industry for the most part and made it an animal. Now there's a whole bunch of musicians and artists, and just to tell you the truth, everything has changed. I'm going to start playing this song, but more or less I feel like we were getting, or my mom was getting, always the raw end of the deal. And I was sick of that, so I want to change things. We're trying to start our own social sites, radio shows, little YouTube, TV channels. Trying to more or less have our own mainstream, but strictly for the artists, musicians, and it's all about the music. This is one of my favorite songs. It's called Hot Date on Tuesday Night. Just brilliant. I think it's brilliant. It fits with nowadays times, but it's written probably in the 80s or 90s. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys. Have a wonderful day. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Songwriters Education, United Songwriters Association.com.
I met her at the car wash and I said hello. I asked her for her number and she gave it to me. I made a good impression on the telephone. I want to take her somewhere, but I'm low on dough. I got a hot date on Tuesday night, but date is at the end of the week. Ain't got no cold cash, and that's a fact. Feel so tight I squeeze. Borrowed a 5 from Clyde, got a buck from Chuck. What's a guy to do when he's down on his luck? Times are tough and mighty lean, but I got a date with the girl of my dreams. I'd like to wine and dine her, give her pink champagne, but how can I afford it on a beer light budget? My money card was eaten by the cash machine the very day I stumbled on the girl of my dreams. I got a hot date on Tuesday night, but date is at the end of the week. Ain't got no cold cash, and that's a fact. Feel so tight I squeeze. Borrowed a 5 from Clyde, got a buck from Chuck. What's a guy to do when he's down on his luck? Times are tough and mighty lean, but I got a date with the girl of my dreams. I wonder if my boss would give a cash advance to cover my behind for a night of romance. She's prettier than the models off a magazine. I can't believe I found her, she's the girl of my dreams. I got a hot date on Tuesday night, but date is at the end of the week. Ain't got no cold cash, and that's a fact. Feel so tight I squeeze. Borrowed a 5 and Clyde, got a buck from Chuck. What's a guy to do when he's down on his luck? Times are tough and mighty lean, but I got a date with the girl of my dreams. A date with the girl of my dreams.
Oh, yeah. Now that's what it's all about, you guys. That's the main reason I'm doing this. My mom's music to help support her to get it out, but also you guys also. Let's talk about it a little bit. We were talking a little bit. I felt like the industry is kind of taking advantage of the artists, musicians. There's definitely a flood. What are you supposed to do with it? But then at the same time, what it really comes down to, as anything in life, is you have to take responsibility for yourself. So that's what we're here to do, is help educate you guys to try to figure out what you should do and how to go about doing it. So we could sit around and say that the labels have done this, they've done that, it's so hard to make, you can't do this. But I think one of the main things too is there's so many distractions out there. We have to prevent ourselves from getting distracted. So one of the main ways to focus and prevent from getting distracted is try to figure out what your core objectives are. Try to figure out what you're trying to accomplish. Am I just trying to build up a band and tour locally? Or maybe just build up a band and build a CD? Do I want to play at all the big venues? Do I not want to play in front of anybody? Do I just want to write a song and get it to this artist? Do I want to write a song and get it in a movie or this type of movie? Do I want to make a music video out of this song? Everybody has different goals, different objectives. Sometimes it changes per song. Sometimes it changes per day. Sometimes it changes per year, per season, just depending on the person. But what we need to do is we need to stay focused. What is my core objective? Well, let's see. A lot of times, not only do you need to get educated, but you also need to do your research and try to figure out what's best going to fit you and your needs for your music. What are your objectives? Is it better to be a dynamic person and do a little of everything, do a little of the touring, do a little bit of the travel, the stay at home, the recording, the music videos, or is it better for you to concentrate on one thing? One of the biggest problems is sometimes not knowing your objectives. I've known tons of musicians and tons of artists, and for instance, there's this one lady, she's always just trying to find a band. She has awesome music, but she's trying to find a band. Sometimes, if you have such a hard time trying to find a band, maybe you need to focus your energy somewhere else. She has amazing music. Maybe we need to try to remaster some of the music, some of the CDs. Maybe get a different producer in there to spice up some of them. Yeah, getting to play, getting different things. To tell you the truth, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this young lady, but to tell you the truth, I don't think her strength was necessarily getting out there and singing, even though she was an amazing singer. But she has an amazing music and amazing songs, so I think maybe focusing on what she's already created and has already done, and figuring out how to make that better, and then figuring out what her target or her goal or her objective with that song or with the music she has, instead of creating more music and keep trying to build this thing and get this band and do a whole bunch of stuff that is kind of a little out of her reach, and then B, totally off focus every time she goes and tries to do it, no structure to it, and no organization. So sometimes it's better to take a step back and try to figure, all right, let's set some core objectives. These are the things I really want to do. And you know what? It may be building that band, so we need to figure out how to focus and concentrate on that, and maybe take away some from the other end of things so we can focus on that. And that's as easy as it is. It's just prioritizing what we really need to do. So with your music, if you're an individual or you're a band, one of the hardest things is really getting everybody on the same page, or even sometimes yourself on the same page from what you want to do, from what you're really doing, or from what one of your band members are doing, or from what one of your partners or somebody are doing to either help or prevent you from going to where you need to go. So one of the things we always try to suggest is setting goals and goal tracking from the year to day to the month to the week to the day. Not only setting the goals, being able to set some type of form to track those goals. It may be as easy as, you know what, I want to get 10 new Facebook friends a month or a week, so I could have X amount by this date, by that day, which is going to help me, build up to just have this many more followers, this many more people liking my stuff, so on and so forth. Or maybe it's, I'm going to get 5 Facebook friends, 20 new views on YouTube, and another video recording when I play at the next place. It's as easy as just setting small goals, but now it's not only setting the goals, it's setting realistic goals. Like some of the things I just said, those are realistic goals. It's not, I want to be playing at the Cricket Amphitheater with the Rolling Stones by the end of next year. Because, to tell you the truth, the chance of that happening probably aren't going to happen. For one, you have to make sure that the Rolling Stones are even touring. But not only that, for you to go from 0 to 120 in a matter of a couple months or a year, just depending on what you're doing, probably not being realistic, but you never know. Anything's possible. So realistic goal setting goals from the year to date, to the month, to the week, to the day. And I think one of the biggest parts and one of the biggest things is celebrating those successes. If you reach a goal, if it's reaching 5 friends on Facebook, celebrate, even if it's just a small celebration. It could be a soda, it could be another type of beverage, it could just be saying, hooray, treating yourself to a piece of pie, a cake, whatever you want to do, patting yourself on the back. It's as easy as that. We're going to get into the intro song, then we'll be talking a little bit more. It's going to be a short series today, but we just love to come on, share a little bit with you guys, and rock and roll.
This is Jacob Boker with the United Songwriters Association and CritiqueReview.com. I have some great news for our listeners. I'm here to say you can now listen to our radio broadcast via the phone. Dial 619-550-0516. Channel 3, 619-550-0516. Channel 3.
In June and July, just a foreign country. Too bad I lost you and you'll never find me. I remember the way your eyes would stare right at me, and the way it would attract me. When we got back, it just wasn't the same, and I won't have you to blame. You've opened new doors that are hard for me to go in. Visual memories hurt, so you will. Not as much as thoughts of missing you. Take a whiff of chocolate spray and it hurts you too. too.
Songwriters Association.
You've opened new doors that are hard for me to go in.
USA.
Visual memories heard.
FM.
So you win, and I know you win.
Yeah. All right. Back with Jacob Boker and the United Songwriters Association. Today we're talking Songwriters Education. Today is just definitely a static show I'm coming on. No main subject, no main topic. I was thinking this morning, man, some of the main reasons why I think I put so much blame on the industry, I guess, maybe isn't the industry, but it's our own downfalls of us not setting our own objectives and our own goals and figuring out a way to track those. And we all, especially musicians, one thing I have figured out about musicians is very few of them are full-time musicians. Well, they're all full-time musicians, but they all have to work and have some type of job on top of being a musician. A lot of them have families too. So how do you juggle your music, your family, and your job? And then how do you also, figure out what you want to do with it? Some people it's just a hobby, so there's nothing they want to do with it. And that's part of the problem, is because you may have one person who takes it really serious in your band, another person it's just a hobby, or they only can do it part-time, or they have family and jobs and they don't have time to think of it. They don't have time to practice. They don't have time to do anything. They could show up and maybe play with you on the weekend. But that goes back to working with what you have, not with what you want. This is not a perfect world. So by setting goals and tracking your goals, it's going to actually help you manage your time, which you're going to realize, believe it or not, by setting goals and tracking goals and better time management, you actually end up with more time and more organization in your life. Probably even more time with your family, better organized, and maybe less time at work just because you are more organized. So, just realistic goal setting and taking out some of the clutter, definitely a great way to go. Finding some way to track your goals. I know online there's so many ways. Pretty much anything you sign up for, if it's Reverb Nation to Facebook to Twitter, they all pretty much tell you your stats, or you could always track it by your friends or your followers, or how many people comment. Just depending. There's always small goals you could set every day, as far as maybe I want to get one new Facebook friend. You go out, you find one new Facebook friend, or you promote your page, you do something. Just something to help further your music and further your objectives and your core objectives of what you plan or what you want to accomplish. We also talked a little bit about celebrating those successes when you reach a small goal or a big goal, because what it's actually going to help you do is keep a positive attitude and having that feeling of accomplishment. And when you have that feeling of accomplishment, you feel like you could accomplish more. You feel like you're bigger, you're better. In reality, you may be the same person, but when you're doing good, you're good. But sometimes when you hit those bumps in the road, it feels like, man, you're so low to the ground, you can't get back up. Every time you take a step, you're going to hit another bump in the road. But guess what? The bumps are only going to be there for so long. It is going to get smooth. And hopefully, by planning these goals and tracking these goals and setting realistic goals, it's actually going to help you run a much smoother race on a much smoother path. Just getting back to celebrating these successes, and that helps keep a positive attitude and a feeling of accomplishment. It's also, the music industry is 80% mental and probably 20% talent. Now, the reason I say this is I ain't not trying to talk bad about anybody's talent, first of all, and say that, oh, it's only 20% talent, because a lot of the talent comes from the mental aspect of knowing what to do, playing, the experience, so on and so forth. But it's also being able to keep that positive attitude. Now, me, myself, I have been in the marketing industry, and I went to timeshare marketing for quite a while. And one of the things I learned there is you really have to try to figure out a way to keep a positive attitude. The main reason is people are going to come up to you and tell you no, and they don't want to go into the timeshare tour. They don't want to do it. They've been there every time. They've had bad experience. People are going to yell at you, curse at you, cuss at you. But it's your job to get them in there. A, you don't get paid if you don't, or B, you get fired. One of the two. So somehow you have to try to figure out how to take those walls down from those people once they're yelling at you and build somewhat of a thick skin, because not only are they telling you no when you're trying to give them something or offer them something or have them do something, they're telling you no in the worst kind of way. They're telling you, heck no, we ain't gonna do that. Yelling at you, calling you names, cursing at you. So the music industry is the same way. You go try to give somebody your CD thinking it may be able to help, and bam, I can't take that. I won't take it. You can't even see the person. Or you try to say, hey, maybe I have this or you could do that, and they don't respond the way that you've been thinking and dreaming and building up in your head. But the truth of the matter is, maybe it wasn't supposed to be with that person, or maybe the time's not up, time's not over, and you just got to keep going and keep talking to 100 people. What if it takes 100 people for you to pass out your CD to before it gets to the right hands or the right person? What if it takes 1,000 CDs? You better start passing out CDs today. Or what if it takes 1,000 people to hear your songs? You better make sure that people are hearing your songs today. Not tomorrow, today. So those are just a couple things. I'm not going to talk much more into it. We're going to get into one more song. Definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, this is a static thing. We don't have no set time, no set day. You guys just have to keep your eyes on the websites, the channels, the phone lines, wherever you're listening in at, YouTube. It doesn't matter. Just keep us on the dial. That's all I have to say, baby. That's all I have to say. And we're live
Thanks to all
now.
the nice people at Spreaker. You can now visit all of our shows on YouTube.
And I know that it's always mad. It's only to cover up. It's sad. We all know it needs help. It hurts to hear it yell. Yeah, I guess it's down. And I guess it's down. I guess.
That's right. The United Songwriters Association Radio Network. So I guess today we're talking about Songwriters Education. That was Creative Conspiracy. They actually have their own show on the same radio network. It's called the Creative Conspiracy Show. Really cool kids. They're a group of, I don't know, there's always seems like 20 of them, but a group of probably like 17, 18-year-old surfer, skater, really cool kids. Definitely check out their show. They have a lot of fun. They do prank calls and play music actually live and in the studio here, so it's actually very interesting. Something to check out. So today, just to cover the topics a little bit, we talked about the core objectives. Is it better to be dynamic or great at one thing? Biggest problems, dealing with a band or a musician, and a lot of that's just dealing with goal and goal setting, the year to date, month, week, and day, the goal tracking, realistic goal setting. That's a big one right there. Definitely take a note on that. Celebrating the small successes, keeping a positive attitude, just how to, celebrating the small successes will help you keep a positive attitude and the feeling of accomplishment. So those are definitely big things there. It's 80% mental and 20% talent. You know what? It's the truth. You got to build a little bit tougher skin and get out there, and don't worry about what people have to say or do, because in the long run, it's all about what you think about yourself. So that's the most important part. Main reason we are doing all this at the United Songwriters Association is to support my mom and the music industry. The most important thing to my mom, more than making it in the industry, is just supporting and helping other artists. She feels, I see more happiness throughout her when she's helping somebody or doing something for somebody else than when she's getting something for herself. So that's the main reason I do this, is because I feel like somebody needs to do something for her and actually step up. So here I am. I'm definitely not a DJ, a professional DJ, or a talksman, or a talks person. Definitely don't know it all. Don't claim to know it all. Hope I could help. If I reach one person, I'm doing more than my job. If I could help anybody in any way, I feel like I'm doing my job. One quick thing I want to talk to you about is the big labels, the big names. They tell you to do things. There's just different alternatives out there. I know everybody wants to go do their copyright and sign up for the royalty collection, such as ASCAP, BMI, but actually what I'm realizing is, I'm not trying to talk bad on them, but it is hurting the industry a little bit, just because restaurants and venues, it's just so expensive and so hard for them to even play music or live music. It's actually killing the live music nowadays. So before you go register, just think about how much you really want to get your music played. I'm not saying don't do a copyright. You should always do a copyright, but there are different copyrights out there. Go check them out. Creative, I think it's called Creative Copyrights, or no, it's called Creative Commons Copyrights. It actually allows people to use your content, your song, your video. All they have to do is give you credit for it. In the long run, it's all about getting to play, the recognition, and people singing your song in their heads. So definitely a thing to think about. If for some reason the series doesn't make sense, change your state of mind. There's always something to be learned from anybody, even if they're the biggest fool. So with that being said, I'm going to get to the outro. Definitely appreciate you guys tuning in today. Check us out next time on The Static here on the United Songwriters Association.com and critiquereview.com.
This is Jacob Boker with the United Songwriters Association.
I'd like to take this time to thank you for listening and supporting independent artists like the ones you have heard on today's show. This will conclude today's broadcast. Until next time, rock and roll.